Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this tri-fold card, which has a space in the centre here to hold a gift card or money if you prefer. I was inspired to make this by the project that Wendy Cranford showed at On Stage in the US. I'm not sure particularly which US one she went to, but she did a presentation apparently, and she did a quadfold, so there were 4 sections. I've changed mine up to be just the 3, but the inspiration definitely came from hers, although mine is really quite different. I've used the same DSP that she has done, but as I say, she had 4 panels and she had 3 of these pockets along here. Okay, so this is the first one I made, and I used a retired colour, which I do tend to do if I'm experimenting, but as it turned out it worked really well. It does actually look like Melon Mambo, but I was really pleased with the colours on that one, and I wanted to stick to the same DSP, the same design, but just change the colour. So the one that I've just made, which I'm a little bit disappointed with because I think it's a little bit boring, so after the video I may see about die cutting some shapes to stick on top there, like paper piecing. If I do, there'll be a photograph of it on my blog tomorrow morning. That's on Easter Sunday. But inside it's just the same. We've got a splash of colour in there, but a bit boring there. Anyway, I'm thinking about that one. And on here, whereas this one had happy birthday, that's because I resurrected these out of things that had already been, in fact that one as well, they'd already been stamped, so I thought, well, I might as well use them, but it meant I finished up with 2 happy birthdays. So on this one I've got happy birthday just for you, because I thought that was appropriate for this, and then hope your day is as wonderful as you. Okay, so change my colour scheme today, go for a much brighter colour. Oh, by the way, there are 2 ways of doing this. The first way, I finished up with it out of my 12 by 12 sheet of paper. I finished up with that much left over. The economical way of doing it, which is this way, I finished up with this much cardstock. So I'm going to show you how to do it the economical way. They are both really good solid cards, so you're not losing anything by doing it to save those pieces. So let me, in fact they would work well for your scraps. Okay, so the card pieces that you're going to be needing. First, this is Lemon Lime Twist, which will be leaving us on the 3rd of June, and I'm really sad about that. I love this colour. So this is 12 inches by 12 inches, or metric is 30 by 30 centimetres. Then you need 3 basic black panels, which measure 3 7/8 inches by 5 7/8 inches, which is 9.7 by 14.7 centimetres. Then you need 2 pieces of designer series paper. Now this is called Broadway bound, and these should both measure 3 3/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, which is 9.4 by 14.4. And then for the centre one, I'm using that design. Obviously that needs to be 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, which is 9.4 by 14.4. Then you need another piece of basic black, and that should measure 2 7/8 by 3 7/8, which is 7.2 by 9.7 centimetres. And then another piece of this designer series paper, which measures 6.9 centimetres by, sorry, 2 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches, which is 6.9 by 9.4 centimetres. I will put all the measurements in the box below the video, but you have to be watching the video on YouTube to access that box. Right, now you need scraps of Whisper White, which I haven't brought over with me. So let me just get those. Not sure how I could manage to forget the Whisper White. I think that will be ample. So let me just get myself all nice and comfy again. So you want Whisper White scraps. Oh, I did. I was going to say, it was a bit silly of me not to bring something over. Scraps of Lemon Lime Twist and scraps of Smoky Grey. So first of all, what we'll do is we will cut our our cardstock, our 12 by 12. Now for all of this, I am going to be using my trimmer. Do I need this? I'm not sure. Can't remember. So now, what do I need for you to be able to see? I need you to be able to see me scoring. Right, so if I start at the top there, so what you need to do first of all is, when I'm scoring with my trimmer, I like to use either my bone folder or my scoring tool, which I can't see. So first of all, what you need to do is line this edge up at 6 inches. Make sure that's all pushed up nicely against the barriers there. And then score right down to the bottom. Okay, so that's top to bottom, the whole length of the 12 inches. Okay, so that's a really good score line there. Now turn it 90 degrees and line up at 4 inches, making sure both of those are touching the barrier. Just making sure you can see me here. Now what you need to do now is 4 inches is score down as far as your score line, your 6-inch score line there. Okay, so just halfway down. Then move this along. Yes, I do need the extension. Line up at 8 inches, still in the screen, yep. And then score down to your 6-inch score line again, or your 15 centimetre score line. So that would be 10 centimetres, 20 centimetres. Okay, so now you've got 3 panels up here and 1 very large panel across here. So we are going to turn this 180 degrees, so we've got our score lines at the bottom. We are going to put this in and we are going to line up again at 4 inches. And this time we are going to use our cutting blade and we are going to cut from the top down to our 6-inch score line. Okay, so we're having cuts at the top, scores at the bottom. So let's have a look. Do we start from this side? And what I tend to do is, if I'm going to start in the wrong place, I make sure that I start so that I'm a bit short, because it's easier to go in with my scissors afterwards to cut that extra little bit rather than if I've cut too far. Make sure your paper is right up against those barriers and slice. That looks good. Now move that along to 8 inches and do the same again. Make sure you're up against the barriers. Line this up at your score line, which should be, if you've done what I have and you've in the UK anyway, if you've adhered the 1-inch strip from a sheet of grid paper, you should be able to start at 6 inches there and then slice up. Yep, that looks good. Now what we need to do is to cut these 2 off. Okay, and when you cut them off, you want to line the score line up onto the far side of your cutting track. Okay, so that's your cutting track in there. Now you want to come over to this edge, make sure your score line comes over to this edge because you want to cut that score line off. Okay, so if I line that up again, make sure I'm up against the barrier, and my score line finishes there, which is right up against that right hand side of the cutting track. So I'm going to come up to 4 inches this time. And again, if I'm short, if I get it wrong, I'd rather be a bit short. Okay, so cut that off. Okay, that's not going to come off, so I am going to come in with my scissors. And it's on that side that it's a bit short. Okay, so you have rescued that piece. Now we're going to do exactly the same the other end. I'll turn mine over so that you can still see me up here. So now I have a score line here, so I'm making sure it's against this right hand edge. Okay, now with my cutting blade again, I'll start at the 4 inches and go right to the top, and again I'm a bit short, so I'll just cut that off. That's it. Now I am going to just move that out of the way slightly, and this piece here is going to come up. So this one I want to go backwards. Line up, make sure you're nice and straight along here, and then give that a good crease. And then the other one you want to fold in the opposite direction. So line that up nicely and give that a good crease. You may find that you've got a little bit of a overhang here like I have. Not on that side, but I think that's probably inevitable. So this is the way the card's going to be opening. So with this we need to go upwards. So fold that so that it's straight, and hopefully you will find that both edges, am I still in camera? Both of these cut edges here are on or inside the score lines. I'll show you why in a moment. So now we need to cut some of this off. So I'll bring this back again. Right, so how did I do this before? I think I did it so that that piece came right off. I don't need that piece. So let's see. Right, okay, if I do it like that, you can see how I'm butting up against the ridge there, the barrier, and I am going to bring this down to 3 inches. And I'm going to slice that off. Okay, so these are the 3 bits that I've rescued. Okay, they probably make good layers for cards, but that could be used as a scrap. So you have finished up with the shape of your card like that. Now before we go on, we finished with the trimmer. Before we go on, just make sure that everything is right. Now I finish up, because I want to cut my score line right off, it means I finish up with a little overhang there. Let me bring that up to show you. Okay, I just accept that. I'd rather have that than the score line, so that stays, and it's the same on the other side because I cut that score line off as well. If that bothers you, leave your score line on. Right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to start adhering all our pieces on. Oh, before I go too far, I want to show you what I did with this, and I put that away, didn't I? I do wish I wasn't quite so keen on keep tidying up. Now what I did was, with my balloons, I do like to get that shadow line on there. So I use a white gel pen, and these are Jelly Rolls, which is G-E-L-L-Y, and I've already done it on here. I just do, in fact I turn mine sideways, I find it easier. I just do a half curve on the balloon, and I just go around doing that, and all the grey and pink ones. It just makes the balloons look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so that I've already done on all of this. All my balloons are done. Right, so let's get everything sorted. I'm going to be using Tombow for this. Make sure I don't do the wrong side. When I start stamping, I'm going to show you something that I saw my team leader Natalie do. She was doing a video showing us how to do 4 cards, and there were 4 cards that were ideal for classes, and it was an online party that she'd organised for people who had achieved certain targets during celebration, targets with sales, recruiting and or promotions, and I was one of those. So thank you very much to all my customers and all the people who joined my team. Anyway, while she was doing the stamping, she used her Stamparatus for everything, and it has never occurred to me to use it like that. And watching her, I thought, what a brilliant idea is that. So I'm going to do that today, so that you can see how it works, and you can think, oh no, I can't be bothered with that, or my goodness, what a good idea. Okay, so when I come to the stamping, everything's going to be done on my Stamparatus. If you don't have a Stamparatus, it might convince you to get one. Right, now last one. I didn't buy the stamp set for this. The DSP is called Broadway Bound, but I never bought the stamp set, which I believe is being carried over to the new catalogue. I'm sure everybody probably knows that the new catalogue will be going live on the 4th of June. But also to let you know that if you have shopped with me in the last 6 months, I will automatically send you a new catalogue. If you haven't shopped with me, you can still, and I will send you one free. But if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you would like to be a customer of mine and get the happy mail that I send out each month, please contact me, and I'm more than happy to send you a catalogue too. Right, okay, so we just put all these panels on. Now I recommend that you do them in order so that you can get the tops of each panel level with each other, rather than doing, say, the two stripy ones first. This really isn't my style of designer series paper, but it has come into its own for this particular card. I think it has worked so well. Also, I have given all the metric measurements, but as always, because there's so many of them here, I would appreciate it if you just double check before you started cutting your cardstock and your designer series paper. Is that okay? Yep, just making sure it looks a bit straight across there. Now this little one, it's got to go on there, so just turn that over. There we go. So that's going to be going up there, that's going to be going around, and you will feel that that really is a very good, strong, sturdy card, a really decent weight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Tombow to stick this down, but I'm only going a little way in, maybe 1/4 of an inch in at the side here. I'm not doing it particularly thick because I don't want it oozing all over the place and clogging up so I can't get my gift card in there. Right, there we go. Okay. And that should line up, and that should line up beautifully. So there we go, much, much brighter, which it should be for a birthday. Okay, so that's our card made. I'll pop that to one side, and I am going to do stamping. There is another piece that I need, isn't there? I didn't really bring enough over. I should have had a piece of thin grey. I might have to try and cut that on my trimmer. Not something I normally do, but here we go. Right, so first of all, I'm going to use these bigger chunks. I'll bring my card back so you can see the bits that I'm going to be doing. Now, I have got balloons over here and balloons here. If you don't have this set, because this is a Hostess set that's in the current catalogue, you can always repeat that over here. Okay, but this one is from oh, there, I can say, what have I done with my stamp sets? Right, okay, so we do the balloons first, and as I say, I am going to be using my Stamparatus. Now this one I think is the only stamp set, no, that one is as well, and that one, no, I've got two that are, did I actually, yes, two that are cling stamps and two that are photopolymer. Okay, so I'm going to do the photopolymer first, so I don't need the foam bit in there. So for my balloons there, I'm going to take this, and I'm also going to put a case under there so it stays nice and straight and it's easy for stamping. I'll put my paper in position, whoops, hold it down. Okay, so this is the Hostess Stamp Set and I'm using this, and it does have to be fussy cut. So what I do, take my stamp. Do I need anything else in here? Yes I do, don't I? I need the happy birthday. There's that one. Right. So let me just reach over to get a thin strip. It's silly to cut that just for the sentiment. It's going to be punched out, this one, so... Right, so that one I'm going to place on there. Then that one, in fact I'm going to push that through there, that'll hold that in place then. That's it. So I'm going to put that onto there. Right, so close down, pick them up. No, come on, pick you up. Oh, you silly what's it. The photopolymer, you need to have your mats in there first. Let's try that again. Right, that one, pop that under there. Put that to hold that. Happy birthday on there. And oh, balloon seems to have stayed. Okay. Right, let's if I push that in that way and that way, if I need to stamp again, I can get it back into exactly the same position again. Right, I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Yeah, I think I will do that just a little bit more on the happy. I think that's probably alright. But I'm using Stamparatus and it's so nice and easy, so I might as well do it again. So that's that, and just on the happy bit there. There we go. Lovely. Spot on. Right. Now, this is, I'm doing a video, so I don't want to spend ages redoing all these stamps and what have you. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to clean them. And put my chamois back. That keeps it nice and moist for quite some time. I'm going to take this off, turn it around. Right, now I can take my foam mat out. So I've done that and that. Now I need to do these, this and this. And I think that's probably what I got these two for. So I put that like that. I can put that on there to hold those two in place. This one was just for you. And this one is for Golden Afternoon. Hope your day is as wonderful as you. And this stamp set is not being carried forward into the new catalogue, which really is very disappointing. Okay, so that's going to go on there. This one is just for you, which I got from Meant to Be, which is being carried forward. Meant to Be. No, not meant to be. It's just for you. Just for you, that's it. Okay, so that's those two. Tuxedo Black Memento. Yep, that looks good. But as I say, I'm using a Stamparator. Let's just give it another go. Even better. So that's those two. So I've done that, that, that and that. All I need to do now are these, and I need 3 of each. Well, I have actually done all of them ahead of time, but I'm going to show you what I did. Okay, this is one of the bits I rescued. So I take that, oh no, clean it first. Take that plate off, move it out of the way and bring another plate in. And the stamp I'm using for this comes from Blow Out the Candles, which again is retiring. Now with these stamps, where they've got like a long thin bit, they can, if they've got a die to go with them, they can be a bit difficult to get them to lay down properly. So what I tend to do is, if I lay the big bit down and then I just let the rest of it find its own level. Or the other thing you can do is you can take the die and you can lay it over the top of, now you can't do that this way, can you? Because if you do it like that so that it fits, so how do you then stick it down? Oh, I know, yeah. Okay, so you can do it so that your stamp fits into your actual die. Are you on camera? Yep, well, it's a bit shaded. I mean, you can see the reflection. Is that better? Oh, not really. Okay, well I'm going to be doing it down here anyway. So my stamp is inside my die. So what I'm doing is I'm going to lay that on there. Right, that's fitting. So I know that that is laying straight to fit in there. And then bring it over and it's going to fit on here. And I've got to put my I'm not really paying attention to my stamps, am I? With the foam mat, without the foam mat. Right, so that one, put that in. Now because I need 3 of them, okay, and notice I've got black on here, but it doesn't transfer. Now that's good. Now I want another one, so I'm going to lift this up out and move it along. Ink again. And move it along again for a third one. And that doesn't look inked very well, does it? Okay. So there we go, there's 3. Now swap over, do your grey ones, and then that's brilliant, you're good to go. Before I do that, because I'm not going to do the grey ones, I've already done all of them, prepared them. Okay, and if you use Memento, this mops up really nice and easy. And it also comes off your stamps a lot better than Stays On does. Okay, so I'm not putting it away, I'm just leaving it on there. Take that off pop that over there and I will sort it out once the video has finished. Now, have I done everything? Or should I say, what have I forgotten? That needs to be die cut. That needs to be die cut. So does that. Imagine that I've got grey ones as well. I need a bit of grey for the back. No, for the backing I need yellow. Lemon lime twist, don't I? So I've got these pieces. It should fit. So that should be die cut. That should be die cut. And that. And the big balloons, that's going to be fussy cut. So I've got that. Where's my sentiment? And I need to cut a small bit there. And I know that needs to be half an inch wide. So I'm going to take it off of this piece here. I'm going to bring my trimmer back again. And I'm going to pop that over there. I'm lining up to an inch there. In fact, no, isn't it better to do it the other way around? No, it isn't. Okay, so I'm lining up, pushing my cardstock up against the barrier there. Up to the ½ inch. And then slice that off. I'm not worried about the length of it because that's easy enough to trim. So there we go. Right, let me get the Big Shot up. Right, you can see that. Fussy cutting, hand cutting. This is a die, and the dies to go with this set, because I just had my die out, didn't I? What did I do with it? I know. Oh, I can hear you all shouting at me. Right, there we go. There's the balloon. And this one I have found that quite often I need a piece of, bit of post-it note just to hold it in place. Okay. See how that string goes in there, all nice and straight. Come back, you. Okay, so you got that. Now for these, we're going to use the stitched shaped ovals, and they are going to be sizes 2 and 3. Okay, so the stitched shaped framelits, you get 4 ovals, 4 circles, 4 squares, and I always start counting mine from the inside. Smaller the die, smaller the number, so I'm using 2 and 3. So that's number 2, and that fits in there beautifully. Well, almost. If you get that so that it doesn't touch the J and the R, although it looks as if it's touching the tail of the Y, it doesn't actually. So there's that one. I'm going to come back for the square ones. Okay, you'll have another 5 balloons to die cut. I'll save those for another project. Pop that onto there. You see, it looked as if it was going to cut some of the Y off, but the stitches didn't go through it. So, pleased with that. Like that. And then for the next one we're going to use a square dies, and again that's number 2 and 3. So the lemon lime twist is number 3. Well, could have done with a slightly bigger piece for that. and then line that up nice and straight. I need to tip this just to make sure. I think that's okay. So let's cut that. There's that one. Oh, that was close. Look at that. Right, so that can go back. Dies can go back over there. Right, now we can adhere these pieces together. Again, Tombow. Okay. I know this is my own fault because I keep leaving it open while I'm not using it. Not a good idea with glue. Oh dear, this is going to come out in a big splodge, I know that. Oh, maybe not. Alright, tweezers. Don't you just love these stitched dies? We've got some more coming in the new catalogue. They're calling them label, stitched label dies, and they're oblongs, but they got like points on the ends. There's probably a proper name to that shape, but I don't know what it is. Okay, so there's that one. I've got my balloons. Let's bring those over. And what else I do with my balloons, again, I like the shadow on them. So I do a little white line on there. Okay. So 3 and 3, that's good. Now I'm just going to show you how I cut across this bit here, because that's the girl's arms and the strings, and I don't want that bit. I just cut the whole lot off. So as I come round this bit, I leave a gap all the way round, but obviously I can't when I get to here. So as soon as I reach her arm, I go up onto the black, onto the outline of the balloon, go round there, and when I get round to the other side, then I start coming away, so I'm leaving an edge again. Okay, so the fussy cutting on that bit's quite easy, because the fancy bit there, you just cut it all off anyway, and then you go round, leave a gap all the way, and you'll finish up with something that looks like this. Okay, that's the bit where I've cut everything off. And as you can see, I went round and I drew the white lines. In fact, that's got a black line on it. It's a nuisance. What I will do is I will use this, but after the video I will cut the other one out and adhere that on top, because I don't like that. Right, so there's that, and that. So we're ready to put all this together now. So we do the first front page first, which is this. So I'm going to do this one first. So what I use is the classic label punch, and just centre that. Don't you think that's a beautiful font? And then I am going to use Tombow to adhere it onto this. Yeah, 1/2 inch wide is fine. And then what I do is I just cut off at an angle and leave a little edging there. Okay, so that looks good. That's going to be going over my balloons. Now, if you are using this particular set, what I did was I used my snail and put it over as much as possible, because I want to have string coming down, one from each. Now I've already cut some of them, 6, I need 8, but I wanted to show you something else. If you ever have baker's twine or anything that's wrapped around a card and you finish up with creases in like that, if it's baker's twine, the easiest way to do, and this will work to a certain extent with ribbons, if you get a damp cloth, now this is a baby wipe, and then just pull that through a couple of times, and you will find that will be a lot straighter. I think most people tend to put them on rolls now, so that's not a problem. But if you've still got some in your stash that are on cards, that's how you can get rid of your creases. Right, now these, I got 8 pieces that are about 6 inches long, and I want 1 piece of ribbon for each. Right, now there is only one balloon that you can see the whole amount, and that is the bottom. So I'm just going to take a ribbon, a piece of baker's twine, and stick it at the back there. And I am going to stick 1 piece at the back of each balloon. And I have to say, I do find it easiest to do it with the balloons facing me. If I find like that one, it's too close, oh no, it's not too close, but if I find one that goes on top of another, then I just turn it over and move it over slightly. I just don't do it too much. Now that one is going to go on there. Yep, that's coming down nicely. One at the top there. Let's just move that down a bit, because they're all the same length strings, so I don't want to finish it up too short. And then one where the whole thing is stuck to my finger. I should have 2 more left, right. So there's one for that one there, which should be about there. And then one which will be about, which one? This one. So just move that in the middle a bit. There we go. Okay, so that's close enough. So next what I do is I put some dimensionals on each of the ends of the strings, just as a little bit of extra security. And then I look at the back and see if I feel that it needs any more dimensionals anywhere. like any areas where it's lacking. So what I would do is some large ones. In fact, there could have been a little one as well, couldn't it? Never mind. There's lots of things we don't worry about. Okay. Let's go back to little ones. It does seem a bit wasteful. Okay, I think that's enough all around everywhere. So what I'm going to do, let me bring the card back so you can see. Is that in screen? Yep. So where's my lemon lime twist card? Make sure I'm doing this the right way up. So just take all these backings off. So what do you think about using the Stamparatus just for all his stamping? No worrying about getting all the blocks out. And if you've got the 2 plates, then you've got up to 4 sides that you could be using. I am planning to get another 2 plates because then I've got 4 sides that I could use if I was using a stamp set, or at least if I was using lots of stamps for a project. Oops, get off. Let go. Right. Oh, there's one left. That's that one there. Right. And that one. Oh no. That's all of them. Right, so when you put them down, just make it so that your strings are straight. And then what we do, after we've got rid of these irritating little things, I don't think I can't see you, just gather them all up. And this is what I saw Wendy Cranford do, and I thought it was a great idea. She got all the strands together, tied them in a knot, and then just work it down as low as you want it to be. Okay, which is probably about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom, and just give it a little bit of a pull, not too tight, otherwise you'll just finish up with a very unattractive tight knot. With this piece, 2 large dimensionals, one either end, and for both of these, in fact, not so much on this pink card, but on this one, you can see how I've done the happy birthday so it's right onto the knot there, which is a much better idea from what I did to the first one, because that's quite loose. Wendy put, I believe, a glue dot underneath that bit there to hold that in place, which I think I'm going to have to do because that does keep moving. You may feel that that's a nice bit to have. Right, let me see if that's straight. There we go. And then for all this untidy bit down here, just take your scissors and cut that off. How nice does that look? Okay, so that's that side done. And then inside I had a gift card, just pop that inside, and just for you. And because this is inside, I don't use any dimensionals. Playing hard to get again. I know what's going to happen. There's a little lump in there, and as I'm squeezing harder and harder, all of a sudden it's going to shoot out and send out a pint of glue with it. But alright, maybe not a pint, but a lot of it. Right, so that's that one. And then finally this one, all I did was I just sort of arranged them any which way, but what I did was I just paid attention to the strings, tried not to allow them to overlap each other, but tried to get them to join up so that there wasn't any loose ends, which, if I can show you, well, you can almost see on this one. You can see the end of that string there. Okay, so you want to try and avoid that. But again, no right or wrong. Eventually you do have to put something over the top, but I think that's okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to leave it like that, more or less. I'm not that fussy about how the balloons go. So once I've done that, I'll take another grey one and I will make sure the strings meet up with each other. Ah, got it. Let's see if that works any better. Oh yes. Okay, so I'm doing that so that that looks as if it's joined. And I need a lemon lime twist. Okay, so bringing it down to marry up with that string. Doesn't matter that these overlap each other. It's just, I don't want it to be too thick with the strings because I'm going to put my sentiment over the top of that. Okay, so that one, it's really high or really low. Really low, I think. Now that must be going underneath the sentiment by now, I think. And then one more grey one. I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure. Right, there we go. That's fine. Now to pop this over, I don't want to use dimensionals because it is on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I use glue dots because there's a little bit of height to them, but not too much for the inside of a card. Especially when the other side that's facing this bit, which is that's already going to be quite thick because it's got the extra layers and it's got the gift card in there. If you didn't want to give a gift card, you could always do something like maybe a bookmarker in there if you know the recipient is an avid book reader. Right, so you will see a bend as that goes over there, but that's alright. Just as long as it's straight, which I don't think it is it? Now I bet I can't move this because it is glue dots. Ooh, maybe lucky. There we go. Right, there we go. So that's today's project. I wouldn't put anything on this side for the sentiment, for the greetings, but I would write just on the back there. It's a light enough colour. In fact, that applies to all of these. This is a retired colour anyway. This is rose red. But that's a good card, don't you think? Many thanks to Wendy Cranford for the inspiration. Not that it's terribly like yours, but it was her idea. In fact, no, it wasn't actually her idea. She did get it from Pinterest. She said she felt that it was a company who had put the idea up. So there we go. Many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions or any comments to make, please leave them in the box below the video. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, apart from rose red cardstock, there's a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop in the box below the video. If you've enjoyed my video and like to be notified every time I upload a new one, which nowadays is normally on a Sunday, please click on the subscribe now button, which is down there in the corner, and then click on the bell to say you want the email notifications. And apart from that, that is it. It is Easter, so I wish you a very blessed Easter Sunday, and until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.